Welcome to Jazz on My Mind, Coast to Coast. I'm Richard Blackwell. Tonight we're going to visit with a young man who is committed to keeping jazz alive. He's been playing the saxophone since he was in the 3rd grade, and since then he's gone on to perform with greats such as Tony Williams, Javon Jackson, Bootney Barnes, and many others. In fact, just recently, he played the national anthem for the Philadelphia 76ers home opening basketball game. Stay tuned because I've got a jazz chat and performance with 12-year-old, that's right, 12-year-old Immanuel Wilkins and his family. That's coming up next on Jazz on My Mind. Right, Immanuel, welcome to Jazz on My Mind. And Garcia, Mr. Wilkins, good to see both of you two again. We've been trying to get you guys on video for quite a while, and I'm so happy to finally have this moment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, this is the young man who I was talking about, who is committed to keeping jazz alive. Now, you probably read about him in our blog section on Jazz on My Mind, because when I first met you two gentlemen, it was at the Tony Williams Awards banquet at the La Rose Catering in Philadelphia.
Right.
And that really blew me away. Seeing you two, and then I spoke to you, Immanuel, and you said, I've seen you on your website.
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. I didn't believe that. And then Mr. Garcia, Mr. Wilkins said, no, he did. He watches all the website because he's a jazz lover. At that time, I had no idea that this young man could play the saxophone as well as he does. It's a tremendous thing. Good to see both of you today. Now, where did it start for you? I mean, when did you start playing the saxophone?
Well, it was a funny story. I was at somebody's wedding, and I was really small. I was like 4 or 5 or something.
Wow.
And I really didn't realize that I wanted to play saxophone or anything of that matter or whatever. But I got a plastic saxophone, and I just started and it was like right in front of in the middle of the dance floor. I just started going off, and I got on my knees, and I'm like,
Wow, you was doing your thing.
with the plastic saxophone, and everybody was just like, whoa. And so I threw my coat off, and I threw it into the crowd. You know, it was funny. So I guess that's how I got started, and I've wanted a sax ever since.
When did you buy him his first saxophone?
We bought him his first sax, so he's in the 4th grade, so it's like about 4 years ago, 4 years ago. First we started him out on violin, and you know, obviously that didn't stick. He wasn't all that happy with it. And then we had him play the piano, and that didn't stick either. And then he saw another gentleman at a church we went to that played the sax, and he was like, man, I want to play the sax.
Okay.
So we're firm believers in buying real instruments. I never was into like buying anything that was plastic. One thing about instruments, they never lose their value.
True.
So, you know, you get something good, and I was a musician back in the day, so
Wow.
I always believed that, like, hey, having instruments around, that's a good thing.
There you go.
So we bought him his first alto sax from a pawn shop, you know, nice Yamaha, you know, and then that's where we started. Then we started getting him lessons, and that's where he all started from.
Well, you know, when I saw you at the Tony Williams Awards banquet, you played that night. And when you and I first spoke, I was like, yeah, you know, what does this guy know about, this kid know about sax? But when you got on that stage and you started playing, I was totally amazed. I have been talking about you to everyone in the jazz world ever since I met you, because that to me was an astonishing situation. You are such a marvelous musician, and at 12 years old, I really have to tip my hat off to you. I cannot begin to tell the Jazz on My Mind viewers how good of a musician you are. In fact, what's going to happen is they're going to witness it a little bit later on in our interview, okay? Now, you supporting your son, that is very important. And I have to give tip my hat to you as well, Mr. Wilkins, because for a parent, and we also know that Mrs. Wilkins, who we will be meeting a little bit, also between the two of you have laid a great foundation for this young man.
Thank you.
Where did your commitment come from to have this young man so disciplined?
Yeah. One of the things, from our standpoint as far as parents, our biggest investment is our child.
Exactly.
You know? So we always believe that. I'm a product, myself and my wife, of the Philadelphia school district.
Okay.
And back when, going some ways back, there was music in school.
Mm-hmm.
So there were instruments, and it helped develop me in my schoolwork. It helped me achieve various things by playing an instrument in school. So one of my primary focuses was to make sure my son also had the same opportunities.
That's wonderful.
And see if he could realize the same benefits out of playing music, along with his education. That's my wife Robin is an educator, so it was almost a natural progression to say, hey, look, let's get him involved in music, because it will also help in his upbringing, because musicians are disciplined people, most musicians are, and that's what it takes to also learn, in school, is that discipline. So we were committed to making sure music was a part of his upbringing.
Now you mentioned, Garcia, that you played an instrument.
Yes.
What instrument did you play?
Yes, I played the flute and the trombone.
Okay.
I started on flute in elementary, and then when I went to junior high, I started playing the trombone. I played back with the big bands, Chicago, 10-Wheel Drive, those type bands back in the day. But jazz was always something cool. I remember the first jazz guy I saw was Archie Shepp at St. Mary's at the University of Penn, and that just amazed me, man. When I turned Immanuel and Archie Shepp, he's like, wow, he's way out there now.
Wow. Well, what I love about this situation is how you have instilled this into Immanuel, and we can see the joy on your face when we talk about jazz. The conversations that we've had off camera, I can feel that excitement. You really love jazz.
Yeah.
Am I right about that? And not only do you love jazz, you love playing jazz. You love being a part. Tell the audience, why do you love playing jazz, and why do you like being such a big part of jazz?
Well, jazz is, it's different than all other genres. Like with classical, you're playing the part straight off the paper. With jazz, it's more of like a self-expression, so you get to express yourself more.
And you do express yourself. I saw the video of you performing at the Clef Club, and singing you there with all of those grown men, and you were just wailing away. You enjoyed yourself that night, didn't you?
Yeah.
Now, what do your friends, now this is important, what do your friends think about you choosing this avenue of music as opposed to the common music that they're listening to? What do you do to support yourself with that?
I have my own little group, and we're band geeks, basically.
Right.
So, but that's different. But my other friends just think I'm weird. So, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because they said that about some of the geniuses and some of the most prolific musicians ever. Miles Davis, to name one. That people thought that Miles. And then you look at someone like Herbie Hancock, who I know you had the pleasure of meeting. Herbie Hancock started playing professionally at 16 years old. So you are in a good situation right now, and I'm very proud of that situation for you.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Now, recently I mentioned you played for the Philadelphia 76ers. You played at the home game against the Milwaukee Bucks a few days ago, and I tried desperately to catch you on television, but I didn't get a chance to see it. But how was that, playing in front of such a huge crowd?